Hey, this is Nick with Ultimate Motorcycling, and today we're going to be talking about the 2017 Suzuki SV650. When the SV650 came on the scene in 1999, it really resonated with a lot of different people in the motorcycle community. Whether you're a beginner, someone with moderate experience, or an advanced track rider, the SV650 satisfied a lot of different groups. At the centerpiece of the SV650 has always been the 645cc V-twin. And the reason why everyone says that this is such a great bike is because it's tractable power. That means a beginner rider isn't going to be shocked with peaky torque bands or horsepower bands, anything like that. In fact, the engine is incredibly predictable. So whether you're an advanced rider or a beginner, the engine's going to suit you just fine. Now, on paper, the 2017 model is going to produce about 75 horsepower and around 47 foot-pounds of torque. That's more than enough for the street, and in a track setting, quite comparable as well. Now, in terms of personality and power, the SV650's V-twin has a ton of it. You can rev this engine all the way up to its red line and be completely satisfied, although you're going to be making peak horsepower at about 8,700 RPM. From about 1,000 to about 4,000 RPMs, you're getting a bike that's completely subdued, great for commuting. And above that, into the 5 and 9 range, where I love to keep this bike, it becomes an exciting little machine to run through the canyons, or I'd be perfectly happy with running this at the track. And one of the main things that potential buyers are going to notice about this year's SV650 is that they've updated the exhaust. We're going to be seeing a 2-into-1 exhaust that sounds great right out of the box. Obviously, one of the things that's always attracted people to the SV650 is the fact that any aftermarket pipe sounds absolutely amazing. But this thing doesn't exactly do a bad job either. In fact, we're quite pleased with the tone that it gives off. The 2017 SV650 features a 41mm Showa fork in the front and a Showa shock in the rear that only has preload adjustment. Now, my only complaints about the SV650 suspension is the fact that we have no adjustment. However, it is quite competent. Now, would I like it to be a bit more stiff when I'm really getting into it in the canyons? Yes, I would. Now, for the beginner to intermediate rider, the suspension found on this is probably going to be quite adequate. If you're going to be taking it to the track or you're an advanced rider, obviously you're going to need some either drop-in solutions, or the much preferred and tried and true way for SV650 owners is to just do a straight GSXR swap. So one of the aspects of the SV650 that make it accessible to a wide array of riders is the fact that it's a very thin profiled bike. Between this model and last year's model, they've actually slimmed down the tank profile a little bit. And when you have a seat height of 30.9 inches, that means the bike is now readily accessible for pretty much anyone on the market. At my height of 5'10" and with a 32-inch inseam, I'm not cramped on the bike at all. In fact, because of its really narrow profile, people much shorter than myself have no problem flat-footing at stoplights. And for a beginner rider, especially someone that's just started riding on the street, that's a huge boost in confidence. Okay, so when it comes to stopping power, the SV650 is going to be using dual floating discs, 290mm, and dual piston Tokiko calipers. I'm not going to say that these brakes are incredible, and they're not bad either. What they are is adequate for this machine and the speeds that it's going to be able to produce. At the lever, you're going to get a decent amount of response, but for the more advanced rider, they would probably want a little bit more feedback. However, a quick fix to all of this would be to replace the stock brake pads with something a bit more high performance, and of course going from the rubber lines to steel braided lines, and that'll give you a boost in braking performance. For a competitively priced bike, the dashboard isn't exactly skimping. What we're going to find is gear indicator, fuel gauge, mileage, and several other selections that are going to help beginner riders out there. Everything is easy to see and easy to use and easily adjustable. Also found on the SV650 is a single push start, which means all you have to do is hit the button once and it fires up flawlessly. We're going to be demonstrating the low RPM assist by Suzuki. And what that means is as you release the clutch, the RPMs rise to help you give a little bit of push off the start. Overall, the SV650 has really come back into form and is probably going to be able to satisfy the most staunch supporters of its brand. With just a few minimal modifications, the advanced rider, the track rider, you can take this thing and start entering it in races. And that's something that people have done for many years. But more importantly is the beginner to intermediate rider. And this bike is going to satisfy them to no end.